Hello, my name is Peter. I'm the addiction counsellor with the North Dublin Community Care Service, which is part of the North Dublin Drug and Alcohol Task Force. This is September 2021. September is the recovery month, and I've just put together some ideas on what is recovery. I think, if you walk out in your town centre and ask people, what is recovery? I don't think they're immediately going to think that it's recovery from an addictive behaviour. So that's why I think it's a good idea to have, or one of the good reasons for having a recovery month, so that we put the whole idea of recovery from an addictive behaviour out there into the public domain. Interestingly enough, if you Google AA recovery after this presentation, you'll get a picture of a truck and a telephone number for some guy to come out and pick up your car. I think also recovery is traditionally mentioned in if you're recovering from a sporting injury or a disease or something, and you're in recovery. So I think the public idea is more in line with that than recovery from an addictive behaviour. So again, that's a good reason for having the recovery month. What is recovery? I'm not going to try and answer that question. I think it's a personal question. Very definitely there are supports and routes that people can take to find recovery from their addictive behaviour, and they will certainly be mentioned in this short presentation. Also, I'd like to say that this isn't a historic account of what recovery is about, but there are some ideas I'm putting out there, kind of where the whole idea in modern times of where did the whole idea of recovery from substance use, alcohol, whatever it might be, come from, and with that in mind, here we have a photograph of Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob, the co-founders of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, in 1935. I think it's true to say that recovery from addiction to alcohol, or what we called alcoholism, is very much down to Alcoholics Anonymous in the modern era. And the 12 Steps recovery program, which were first published in 1939 in the Big Book, and with the mastermind, if you like to use that word, from Bill Wilson, and all the 12-step programs that we now see in the world all originate from the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. So again, it's very true to say that recovery from addiction has been profoundly influenced by Alcoholics Anonymous firstly, and the 12 Steps of AA. Here we have a definition of or description of recovery, which I really like. The journey of individuals to abstinence and a new way of life. I think crucial to the whole idea of recovery from addiction is the idea of abstinence. Abstinence doesn't happen with a click of fingers or overnight. So the whole idea of the journey of individuals to abstinence is a nice way of describing it. Also, we have the idea introduced here of a new way of life, which is essential for ongoing recovery. People will say that recovery is, what's recovery about? It's all about change, and essential to that change is adopting a new way of life. We have the AA triangle there also in the picture: unity, service, and recovery. Traditionally and historically, good recovery, as described by AA, would be in terms of regular meeting attendance, working the 12 steps, being of service. That could be being a secretary for meetings or setting up meetings, and also sponsorship, which is guiding the new person in recovery essentially through the 12 steps of AA. So again, I like that description, the journey of individuals to abstinence and a new way of life. And I'll be focusing on the whole idea of a new way of life as we continue on. Following on from AA, we had the founding of other fellowships which addressed the issue of drugs, which became more prominent in society as we moved through the decades. NA, Narcotics Anonymous, was founded in 1953, and later on in 1982 we had Cocaine Anonymous was founded. I think it's important to say that there's more similarities between the 12-step programs than there are differences. I mean, there are subtle differences in mostly the difference in the steps is in the first step, where, for example, in Cocaine Anonymous, the first step is we admitted we were powerless over cocaine and all other mind-altering drugs. In NA, the first step is admitted we were powerless over addiction. So again, there's differences in the first step, and that is the case across all 12-step programs. But again, there's more similarities than differences. Some people will attend AA, NA, and CA, or any mixture of therein. Which kind of harps back to the point that I was making earlier, that recovery is a personal journey, and people, find what suits them and what works well for them, and that's the crucial thing, If recovery becomes about what other people are doing or rules and criteria that other people have, I don't think it rings true to the individual. In more recent times, we've also seen the emergence of a number of different professional-based recovery programs. I say professional-based recovery programs because most of these programs, or certainly a lot of these programs, are based in the whole concept of CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, which comes from the place of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. One such program is Smart Recovery, which I have on the screen here. We run Smart Recovery groups here from our service in Swords, and these have become popular. And as I say, they've grown out of the professional delivery of service to individuals with addiction issues. Life-ring is another one that comes to mind, and as you can see, in the Smart Recovery program, there are 4 elements to it, or 4 pillars. The final one, their lifestyle balance, is the pillar that looks at what I spoke about earlier, the whole idea of a new way of life and balancing lifestyle in recovery and introducing change and new interests, or reinforcing old interests, which is a very, very important part of ongoing recovery. Smart Recovery, Life Beyond Addiction, use the phrase or expression, vital, absorbing, creative interest. I like the idea of this. And really what it's addressing here is the necessity, or what I would say is a necessity, of finding that creative interest which suits you and which fills the gap and the time you have and the space you have when you are in recovery and no longer taking part in that addictive behavior. I believe there is something out there for everyone, whether it's education, sport, art, chess, knitting, whatever it may be that takes you away, whatever your interest is, you've got to seek it out. For some people this comes easier than for other people, but no matter what way we approach recovery, it is necessary to put in action and to seek out recovery and seek out that interest which fills that gap for you. In more recent times, wellness has become very central to the whole concept of recovery, that is body, mind and spirit. Body being general physical fitness, I guess. The whole idea of mind and meditation and mindfulness, as I say, has become a very central part of recovery for a lot of people. Also the idea of spirit, where people find themselves on their own personal spiritual journey of discovery, is something, a path that a lot of people choose to take when they come into recovery. I hope this short video presentation has opened some ideas within you of what recovery can be or what recovery means to you. I believe there's something there for everyone, and recovery is there for everyone, and may you find it today.